My name's Eric. If you don't know me, I've kind of been around the club for 13, 15 years, something like that. I was introduced to the club by this guy. All right? And I was also introduced to Jeff by this guy, but I didn't meet him. I didn't meet Jeff with him. So John invited me to a party at Jeff's place, Inner Circle, right? Folks up on the northwest side, Copperfield. Come up, knock on the door. Jeff's like, hello? Well, I said, hi, I'm Eric. I'm a friend of John's. And he just got this look on his face. It was the wrong day. So, anyway, ever since then, Jeff's pulled me in to that group, brought me over to his house. It used to be tons of commercial beers. We were trying everything. I tried Sticko beer, Doppelstick, all the Berliner Weiss years before I saw it in the States. He used to bring that stuff, drive it down from Iowa, from John's Grocery. He taught me a bunch about John's. Taught me a bunch about home brewing, but never pushed it on me. The thing about Jeff is that he was willing to teach anybody who was willing to learn and do the work. And he would make you do the work, but he was happy to share all of his knowledge. There were no secrets. So, you know, awesome person and awesome home brewer. I don't think of the medals when I think of Jeff. I think of the amazing person that he was.
So, well, for a few years, I came back and I didn't know hardly anyone here except some of the old regulars. But it was at the other location down the street, version 1 of Stella Lee, Tobacco's, and he and Mike Henneth were situated at the counter away from the main counter, and they had their own little deal going. And I walked up there, and he was just had this big cooler full of homebrew.
Even back then.
Even back then, and he was just like, "Hey man, come over, and it was just like, he was just, yeah. And we started talking about brewing styles, and we had a commonality in that respect, so we just collaborated with brewing together. And it's really weird. So when I knew he was over at the El Paso Forest Trails, and we used to have these gatherings over there, informal tastings, and we ended up staying until 2 o'clock in the morning around that dining room table. You've been there. Yeah. And Sue would come down and turn the lights off a couple of times. And that was Sue's way of telling us we needed to get the hell out of here. Yeah. You know what? We loved it for it. So when Jeff moved over to the new place, it's just like a continuation of that whole thing. And Jeff is just that kind of guy, man. Just like Eric said, willing to share, very generous with whatever he had with him. He always shared. He was a great guy. So I'm gonna miss him.
Shared his beer, shared his meads. That's one of the asks that I got by text from Andy Thomas today was, please make everybody know how he feels about Jeff as a mazer. He feels like he's the best one in the Houston area.
What everybody has a story about Jeff. And Jeff leaves behind a wife, 2 daughters in high school, one graduating this year, 2 brothers, his dad, he's had a brother that passed. To know Jeff Reilly was to know the spirit of homebrew, to know about this hobby, to give back. He was all about generosity. He didn't care if you made good beer, bad beer. He was so happy to have you pick up the hobby and make attempts to make that hobby what it is. And all the people that he mentored, like Roland, Scott, he brewed with Josh. He thought the world of you. He's like, man, he's going to be a dynamite, you know. So I brewed with him because we both worked offshore. Jeff was a geodetic surveyor. Offshore, you have pipelines, you have all kinds of different things for construction of oil field and pipelines. That's what Jeff did. That was his specialty, and he was the best at it. He was tremendous. His dad was known throughout the whole industry for surveying. Rob Kolachny is a surveyor. He can attest to that. Everybody was friends with Jeff. There was not he just was so kind-hearted, just like John was saying. And his wife Sue, put up with all this stuff from the home brewers, you know, and I was there. I mean, because we got kicked out on so many occasions. It's like, get out of here, you go home. You know, and, when he got the new place with the big giant man cave it's like a Taj Mahal of man caves. And it was away from the house that you could, you know, sleep there if you needed to or do whatever you needed to do. And he would host brew-ins there. Jeff would brew all the beers for the Dixie Cup, and every year I would ask him, I remember when I was Wazoo years and years ago, hey Jeff, you gotta run for officer. No, I'm not doing that shit. He's like, this is what I'm doing, and that's what you're gonna take. And it's like, okay. That's what you're gonna do. So, you know, Jeff was like, this is what I can give, this is what I want to do. And you know, with all the entries, prolific entries, the guy would enter 70 entries in Dixie Cup, you know, or plus. And I had the pleasure to brew with him. We won a lot of awards together. You know, he became a master of mead making. Just a tremendous individual that no one will ever forget, because you just can't imagine all the time, you know, his time between his family, between his job, because he was just as dedicated to his job and his family as he was to homebrew. And he thought the world of the Foam Rangers. He was dedicated to Foam Rangers, but he also, you know, he was in the spirit of homebrew. He liked the CIA, he liked the KGB, the Mastronauts.
They're here.
You know, all the clubs. He was, you know, when Ray moved the shop up to the Woodlands, you know, he supported Ray Philbrick. And so, you know, anytime anyone would you know, promote homebrew or have a success, he was all about that, you know. And he was looking to do a brewery. We talked about doing a brewery years ago, and he was looking to do a brewery now. So, you know, it's just, you know, for those people here that did not have one-on-one personal contact with Jeff, his spirit will live on through everybody else that had contact with him. It's just that kind of person, that he leaves just an indelible mark on you that you want a role model that you want to emulate, and just a tremendous person that you know, we all miss exactly.
Thank you, Jimmy.
7 years ago when I moved here from the East Coast, basically won the homebrew lottery because I moved in right across the street from Jeff. So I didn't have to Uber or nothing. Sometimes I thought I would.
It's a long walk back to your house.
I've gotten lost a couple of times. This dog's friendly and nice to sleep with.
I did in the wrong bed, did you?
He got escorted. Jello shots.
Anyways, everybody, thanks seriously for all the CIA people that have arrived, the Mastronauts, KGB, if you guys are around here, everybody. Shows a lot of support for this man. Anyways, throughout our lives, there are few people who make a big impact on us. Jeff Reilly was one of these. His knowledge of brewing beers and meads is legendary among the club and throughout Texas. But this alone does not define the man. His generosity with his time, sharing knowledge, his food and drink, put him on a different plane than most of us. His compassion towards his family and friends also make him a man among men. Jeff, you will be sorely missed by all of us, and we are all better for having known you. To Jeff.
Jeff.
Riley.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.